This is Jay Holgate. I've traveled all over the South following SEC football. I've got some great speeches on teamwork and leadership that you need to check out. But in this series, my lesson is on you better know who's on your team. We give you 5 minutes of a 30-minute presentation. If you want more information about my speeches, call Todd Green at footballspeakers.com. His information's at the end. I hope you enjoy.
2009, the SEC championship game came down to the #1 Florida Gators versus the #2 Alabama Crimson Tide. Both schools were undefeated. Both schools had dominated their divisions and dominated games all season long. The game was a rematch of 2008. This game had all the drama of a national championship game. When I was analyzing the pregame, Florida was the obvious choice. The Gators had quarterback Tim Tebow, which is enough said. Tim Tebow had won the Heisman Trophy as a sophomore. He was a tremendous leader. He had a way of getting this team cranked up. He was the heartbeat of this team. The Gators had also plenty of talent on both sides of the ball. They also had returned most of the players that had played in the national championship in 2008. So this team had been there before, and they knew what they were there to do. The biggest thing that kind of leaned toward Florida is that the odds makers picked Florida to win this game by 6 points. And the odds makers don't go wrong on this stuff very often. On the other hand, Alabama was a tough team. They tended to dominate teams in the fourth quarter, and they just seemed to find the big plays when they needed them. The previous week, Florida had whipped Florida State 37-10 for the 6th time in a row, and they dominated every aspect of the game. So they were coming into the SEC championship game with momentum. Alabama, on the other hand, had to come out of a cat fight with Auburn. And it looked like the Tigers might pull the upset. But with 2 minutes left in the game, quarterback Greg McElroy drove the ball down the field and scored the winning touchdown, beating Auburn 26-21 on the road. So this is what I saw. Florida beat Florida State so easily that the Gators believed they were a superior football team. I could tell it by the way they walked around the FSU field after the game. There was a sense of arrogance about it. And I had been watching them all year long. It was kind of a new thought process for them. So my first flag came up as watch for overconfidence with Florida. But down in Alabama, the Tide had to fight with everything they had just to beat an Auburn team that had nothing to lose. So for Alabama, the comeback win built confidence that this quarterback could win the game when the pressure was on. The comeback victory had a way of pulling this team together. Flag number 2, about 72 hours later, on a Tuesday night at 2 a.m. in the morning, starting defensive end Carlos Dunlap was arrested for a DUI. The 6'6", 290-pound junior was found asleep at the wheel of his car at a red light. Dunlap was an MVP player of the game from last year's SEC championship game. This guy was an impact player. My question was, why was Carlos Dunlap out celebrating the week of the SEC championship game? Why would a leader be doing that? To me, a leader in an organization getting arrested for drinking did not sound like a team preparing for a championship game. Carlos was suspended by Coach Meyer and missed the championship game. So what does the suspension of Carlos Dunlap mean for Florida? It gives you an inside look at the mindset of some of the leadership on this team, which appears to be overconfidence. It's a huge distraction on multiple levels. Confidence is good. Confidence combined with hard work is great. But overconfidence usually ends in defeat. Flag number 3 for me is that Florida's defensive coordinator, Charlie Strong's name, kept getting brought up for head coaching jobs around the country. Everybody knew that Charlie Strong was due. It was probably going to happen somewhere. And the one thing that changed in his life was he got a $1 million increase if he became a head coach somewhere. This would distract anybody. This pushed me to pick Alabama for the upset win. Now, I went on several radio stations and predicted Alabama to win, and every time I did it, the DJs challenged my belief. but I held strong that Alabama was going to win that game. So how did the game end? Basically, Florida came out flat, and Alabama played hard-nosed football. Alabama won the game 32-13. It wasn't exactly how Tim Tebow wanted to finish his college career. So who's on your team, and how are they affecting your performance?
That's all I got. I know it's short, but YouTube's got these limits. So if you want to hear me speak, your group, your organization, your church, whatever, call Todd Green at footballspeakers.com and he'll set me up. So anyway, until then, we'll see you on the ball field.